Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And thank you all for the opportunity to join today with Minister Buzu and Ms. Gaspirikova from UNDP. I would also like to take the opportunity to recognize the presence of the permanent representative of the Republic of Moldova to the United Nations, Ambassador Luca, who joins you in the chamber this morning. Mr. Minister, may I please invite you to share your remarks?
Thank you, Simon. Your Excellencies, let me just start by thanking you for this opportunity to speak to you. Mindful of time, I'll try to be brief and to the point. So I think the cost of living crisis put a lot of pressure on social protection system. In Moldova in 2019, we would spend about 11% of GDP on social protection. In this year, we anticipate that we will reach about 15% of GDP. So in a short amount of time, we had to put a lot of fiscal space to deal with multiple crises, to prevent poverty and energy crisis increase, refugee flows, COVID and pandemic. And I think more than ever, we need game-changing solutions. And for that, I think there's no other way but to work together and as one. And I think in my time as minister, I've learned that coordination works, but you have to be willing to put the work and put the time to make sure that everyone shares your vision and everyone brings the added value to the table. And I think on the other side, the expectation from the governments and from the ministers is that the UN agencies and the resident coordinators should be willing to take on risk because we are in exceptional times and we need to be a bit willing to go beyond our comfort zone. And in a crisis, you have to be mindful to break the rules in a good way, right? To think about the timelines in a different way. And I just wanted to highlight a specific work that we've done with UN agencies under the leadership of the resident coordinator and the UNDP team in Moldova. And the project that we done was to face the challenge of energy price increase. In Moldova, the price of energy increased by 8 times. So the task for us was to devise and put in place a support scheme to compensate the energy price for a targeted one to support the low-income households in Moldova. And this was done in less than 6 months. And we were able, for the cold period in Moldova, November 2022, April 2023, to have a support scheme helping close to 65% of Moldovan households, targeting in a targeted way. So the families on the low income we were able to support them by 50% to cover 50% of the energy bill. And I think this work entailed digital solutions, policy solutions, research, fundraising. I'm sure that without the support of UNDP and the resident coordinator, we will not be able to fundraise to get more support from our external partners. So I think, again, in just a short amount of time, we were able to put in place this amazing program. And beyond this short-term benefit, now we're working with the UNDP to integrate other parts of our social protection system into the system. So beyond having a short-term solution, this intervention was a game changer for us and had a transformative impact for our social protection system. So I will just conclude again, and I will urge all ministers, all governments to take the time, take the work to make sure that everyone is on the same page and be disciplined. And I think the payout will come. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for your support and leadership and friendship with the United Nations system in the Republic of Moldova. I'd now like to pass the floor to Ms. Daniela Gaspirikova, the UNDP representative, who will expand on that concrete example that's just been shared by the Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Springet. As already mentioned, the energy poverty poses a significant burden on vulnerable households in Moldova, as well as neighboring countries. To address this challenge in a speedy manner required a significant coordination effort across a number of sectors, public and private, to build both and harness the data that rested or were nested in the official statistics, but also other databases, for example, owned by the public utility operators, and to advance very quickly the legal framework to build a sustainable mechanism, which, as the Minister has referred to in case of Moldova, is called Energy Vulnerability Reduction Fund, which became a national targeted mechanism for on-bill energy subsidies distribution and was inspired by comparable initiatives in a number of European countries, such as UK Energy Company Obligation Scheme of France, Energy Solidarity Fund, and Germany's Heating Cost Subsidy Program. And all of these have proved to be a very valuable reference and inspiration for design of the Moldova-specific solution. The Energy Vulnerability Funds aims to alleviate financial strain on energy vulnerable households on one hand, but on the other hand also to foster a sustainable transition in the energy sector by directly addressing energy affordability challenges. The on-bill subsidy mechanism provides eligible households with financial support through direct deductions on their utility bills. Clear eligibility criteria, including the income thresholds and housing conditions, ensure that the support reaches those most in need. Collaboration between the government and, as I mentioned, energy providers was crucial for seamless integration into the billing systems, accurate identification of eligible households, and smooth fund distribution. Initial results of the impact evaluation, which is currently ongoing, of the Energy Vulnerability Fund are very encouraging and show significant reductions in energy poverty and income poverty, somewhere between 40 to 70%, with varying impacts depending on energy sources used by the household and level of energy, their original energy vulnerability. Of course, in the medium to long term, we are very much looking at the sustainability, which requires not only adequately funded framework, but also regular monitoring and adjustment to adapt to changing conditions and evolving situation. Government's integrated support to improve energy efficiency measures with continued diversification of energy sources are vital elements of this long-term success. The UNDP's intervention, of course, has been the part and parcel of the larger United Nations Development Emergency Response Offer, and its sustainability requires continued collaborations with the other members of the United Nations country team in ensuring the seamless synergistic collaboration and delivering on the support in various areas, be it from the policy framework improvement, service provision, but also infrastructure building. In conclusion, the Energy Vulnerability Reduction Fund holds the potential to achieve the triple wins of alleviating financial burdens on the households, promoting energy efficiency, and also contributing to poverty reduction and social equity. Through careful planning and collaboration, we believe that Moldova can become a model for other nations in addressing energy vulnerability and building more inclusive societies.
Thank you very much, Daniela, and for sharing the concrete example of how coordination is yielding significant results and meeting emergent needs with sustainable solutions. Madam Ambassador, before I yield, if you'll please allow me to share some few perspectives as a resident coordinator. I truly believe that the investments made by member states to strengthen the leadership, impartiality, accountability, and effectiveness of the resident coordinator systems are yielding clear returns in enhancing the UN development system offer. And I think the statements from the minister as well as the UNDP are a testament to this. Clearly, a well-configured United Nations country team in line with government ambitions, has no equal in terms of the ability to bring the right support at the right time with the required expertise and critically at the right speed to align our support behind government priorities and to be, importantly, intentional and predictable. And from my humble perspective, having a well-resourced resident coordinator's office is crucial for success. In the current environment, I cannot fail to mention the government's response to the more than 800,000 Ukrainians who have crossed into the Republic of Moldova and the more than 100,000 who are currently seeking refuge here. From day one, the collective approach of government and the UN was very clear. Everything that we do to support refugees and those families and communities who have warmly opened their doors to support their neighbors will be based on our approach to further develop and strengthen national systems and will have long-term and sustainable benefits. Having a resident coordinator and a resident coordinator's office with the uniqueness of purpose to support government and the United Nations country team on this was critical for our success. This is unusual for an emergency response at its very outset, and I do commend the government for their foresight and their leadership in this regard. This development emergency response was also supported by the Joint SDG Trust Fund, which was launched in 2022, which many of the member states present contributed to, for which I thank you. The ambitious social protection and labor reforms highlighted by the minister are supported by 10 United Nations entities, and I'm very proud of the coordinated and mutual reinforcing programs that are being planned and delivered under the minister's leadership. I'm also proud to be co-chairing the Coordination Council with the Minister on Social Protection and assisting UN partners, United Nations partners and member states to better understand and deliver against the government's key priorities. To conclude, I would wish to thank member states as well as the government of the Republic of Moldova for their continued trust and support in the resident coordinator system, and to the UN country teams who are working hard every day all around the world. With this, Ambassador, may I please pass the floor back to you.